South. And of course, the sit-in movements were not confined to the South, but we do have with us as our first guest today, Miss Elizabeth McClain, a professor at Tennessee State University and also a participant in the sit-in movements in Nashville, Tennessee. And let me welcome you to the show this morning, Ms. McClain.
Thank you, Dr. Haney.
And tell you how delighted we are to have you here with us, because we know that not only did you participate in the civil rights movement and in the sit-in movements, but you have played a real role in terms of the legacy of that movement, directing studies and directing all other kinds of activities to make more people aware of that. Let's start off by having you to give us a statement about your own background, and then talk about the sit-in movements, the 50th celebration of that movement.
I was a student at Bethune High School in Piedmont, Alabama, when my brother came to Nashville to Tennessee State University. I graduated, and then I came to Tennessee State in 1961. I am the second oldest of 8 children. My brother was in the sit-ins, my brother was in the stand-ins, and went on the Freedom Ride. And so when I came to Nashville, I joined NCLC and the student movement, and I did the same thing.
As a freshman?
As a freshman at Tennessee State. Nashville's movement actually began with Kelly Miller Smith going to Atlanta and joining Dr. Martin Luther King when they organized the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Dr. Smith became the chaplain for that organization. He returned to Nashville in 1958. He called for the ministers of Nashville and organized the Nashville Christian Leadership Council. And that's the organization that ran the sit-in movement in Nashville. He asked for ministers to join him, and 27 ministers joined him. And that organization later agreed that Jim Lawson, who had been to India and had studied Mohandas Gandhi nonviolence, would come and have workshops with students. So Nashville students and community persons went to workshops at Clark Memorial Church and several other churches and learned the philosophy and techniques of nonviolence. And that's what they used when we had the sit-ins. Now, the first publicized sit-ins was February the 1st, 1960 in Greensboro, North Carolina. But Nashville's first sit-ins was on February 13th. Now, Nashville had tried some test sit-ins in 1959, but the first publicized sit-in was February 13th, 1960. The sit-ins went okay. They sat, they closed the counters, and then the students left. They went again 3 more times before there was violence. The violence came in on February 27th, and hoodlums hit students, knocked students off their stools. One young man was pushed over the counter, and the police sat and watched as these things happened. And then the police arrested these nice, well-groomed students for disorderly conduct. And they continued these sit-ins throughout this period. The Nashville community was outraged because their well-behaved young college students were being beaten and by hoodlums and also arrested by the police. And the total community rallied around these students. They continued the sit-ins. The mayor had a biracial committee which came up with a solution that said that they would have partial